everyone. It's so amazing to see you. Hello, Selena, and hello, Elise. Thank you for being here at Most Powerful Women. So, Selena, you launched Rare Beauty in 2020. There were then, and there are now, so many celebrity beauty brands on the market. But as Emma alluded to in the introduction, you've been so incredibly successful. What did you see as the white space at that time that you wanted to fill?
I'm not quite sure there was a need for more cosmetics company, probably specifically from people like me. I'm sure people were not assuming that would do much, but I wanted to create the brand with a mission. I felt like at that time when I was starting the brand with my team, it just seemed to be a lot of expectations for women to, maybe it was a fad or a style, and it felt super unrealistic to me. So I wanted to find a way that if I were to take this adventure, how can I make it unique? How can it be not about perfection, but about inclusivity and making someone feel good? I also don't know how to do my makeup, so that's the ironic part. But I ended up creating the brand for people who hopefully feel the same way, and I love using my products and making sure that they're actually good. But yes, our mission has definitely centered around the Impact Fund,
which we're going to come on to in a second. And when you talk about inclusivity, you mean both the skin tones that are available, but also the packaging. So tell me a bit about why that's so important, because that's pretty unusual.
Absolutely. Well, I think I've been very honest about sharing my journey with some of my health issues, but if you don't know, I've had a kidney transplant and I have arthritis. So in my fingers, it can be very difficult just opening a water bottle. And I wanted products to feel like that I could use, that felt comfortable and not have to always bite the product sometimes to open the eyeshadows. But I felt like including something. And so basically, we met up with therapists, people who have dexterity issues. We've tried to include people who may not know how to easily access something. And that was really important just because it was a personal thing for me as well.
Yeah, of course. And talk to me a bit, and this is for both of you, whoever wants to answer, about the categories you enter and the products you enter each category with, because correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been updated. You're currently in 14 product categories and you have around 35 to 40 products, which isn't actually a lot. So what's the strategy behind what you do?
I actually didn't know the exact number.
That's what this is research has led me to these numbers, but how do you figure out what's the right category and what's the right product?
I think we've always been driven by our community and ensuring that our product development team, but really across the board, all teams are so closely tied to the community that we've created the brand around. And it's truly our community that will help us stand the test of time, and they drive everything.
And
the innovation, we follow what we know they're going to want to see next. We know how important our brand values and inclusivity are, and are really driven by all of that.
What do you mean? Break down the word community for me, because it's something we use a lot these days. What do you mean by it, and how do you engage with it? Because I know you're doing some interesting things, Substack, for instance. But.
Yeah, so we reach over 12 million young people across all of our social channels. We consider that our community, but we don't just reach them through digital. We bring them together for community events, for influencer events, for mental health events, and we've done that since we launched the brand in 2020. And in many ways, launching a brand like this during a global pandemic can be challenging, but it forced us to double down on the brand's mission because we had to create connection and community among everyone. And so we started these rare chats in the very beginning, which were members of our community who signed up. They loved our products. We brought them together online. And we talked about everything from what's your favorite rare beauty product to what are you struggling with. And that was really the inception of building this community, and it happened authentically. And so over time, it's grown tremendously. Our customers are our community, but they know many of us. They know a lot of the people that work at the brand. They see us at events. They see us walking down the street. They talk to us on Instagram. And so there's a whole person behind every one of our customers. And I think that's what we consider the power of our community.
And Selena, how do you balance that? Because as Elise was saying, so much of the power of Rare and its community is you being the face of this brand and people connecting with you. A lot of us, myself included, feel like we've grown up with you. But then at the same time, putting yourself out there, and you've been very candid about this, has real life mental health consequences for you. So for all of us, can I just say, how do you walk that line between doing what is important for the business and also taking care of yourself?
Well, I'd say it's important to have a great team. I think I am very fortunate to have started with, I think it's an honor and a pleasure. I don't know if you know exactly where this woman has come from, but I'm so honored to have her as
amazing
a partner.
social impact work for Michelle Obama, Elise, and you two met over Zoom. You told me as well during the pandemic.
We did, and the rest was history.
It was great. So surrounding myself with people who actually believe and understand my mission was incredibly important. And like she said, I do think it is my transparency, but it also is what we've built, because we do tons of events for people that we have never met to people that have created a relationship, and we'll bring in therapists or we'll bring in music into play or food or any sort of activity that they can physically be a part of. And we also listen. I think sometimes we don't give the consumers enough credit. They're a lot smarter than we think.
So do they, going back to what we were talking about a second, do they direct your product decisions? Do they direct the direction the company goes in strategically?
I mean, we definitely have a specific way of doing and showcasing our brand, but we listen, definitely. They have helped us with shades from just stories and products that they want to see less of, more of, and yeah, we definitely appreciate their feedback.
I have to ask about tariffs. It's been a hot word here over the past few days. Tariffs on cosmetic ingredients and packaging have really had a huge impact on the beauty industry over the past year. I believe that some of Rare's products are made in South Korea. Has it had any impact on your products and pricing models?
For the most part, we've stayed true to our prices and continue to want to ensure that we are a brand that is accessible and across the board. And, we'll have to see the direction that everything goes, but that's where we are right now.
Let's move on to the Rare Impact Fund. So, Selena, you launched this fund alongside, at exactly the same time you said you were launching the brand. It was a huge commitment from the outset. And its goal is to expand access to mental health services for young people worldwide, which I know is an issue very close to your heart. So 1% of all Rare Beauty sales go to the fund. Two-part question. First of all, how did you settle on that number? Why did that feel like the right direction to go in?
Well, I can say that every single thing this brand does has been driven by Selena, from her story to her values to her vision. And so making a commitment like that before ever selling a product is something that's really bold and unique. We didn't know what the success of the business would be, and it can be risky to give away 1% of sales, not profit, sales, before ever knowing what the business is going to look like. And for Selena, this brand has always been driven by mission first. The products can stand on their own, but truly the brand's mission and purpose and story is what makes the brand so unforgettable to our community. And so 1% of sales is bold. It's above gold standard as people look at sort of corporate philanthropy. And not only did Selena want to donate 1% of sales of her company, but she wanted us to also fundraise so that we could mobilize $100 million. This wouldn't just be a corporate philanthropy. This would be a true foundation, true through and through. And that's what it's been since day one.
And how do you think about allocating funds? How do you make those decisions?
So we work in partnership with organizations around the world. We vet them. We make sure that they are meeting our 3 pillars of impact, which is around suicide prevention and crisis response, education, as well as what we call communities of support, which is really ensuring that all of the adults around a young person are also trained and educated. So we make sure that the organizations we support fit into one of those buckets. And we currently support 30 nonprofit partners around the globe.
That's incredible.
That's hopefully just the beginning. That's
just the beginning. Where do you want it to be in 10 years' time?
I am to rush people. This is an important issue. This is something that often gets neglected, but also, when we started the brand, it was during the pandemic. It was during a really difficult time. So I wanted to see if that would even work. And like she said, I think it is kind of bold and a little risky to do that. But we've also been able to do full days working with our partners where, we did recently 3 days at Sephora where 100% of our fragrance sales went to the Impact Fund. So we get to do these things that help it grow, and we do a gala every year, and usually I force my husband to buy the most expensive thing because I'm like, just do it. We need to help people. So.
And he does it.
He does it.
He does it.
What a great husband. I don't know how many of you watched the documentary film that Selena made in 2022 called My Mind and Me, which was such an incredibly powerful film and actually a very brave thing for a celebrity to do, to give so much of yourself to the viewer like that. In that film, you talked about wanting to spearhead a mental health curricula for young people in schools. I wonder where you're at with that right now. Is it a possibility?
Well, to explain, when I went to rehab, I've been a few times for multiple things, but one of the biggest tools that helped me was dialectical behavior therapy, and it's called DBT. Some people know it as cognitive as well, so it can be CBT. And it instills these skills in me that I don't think I was ever able to do growing up. I'm bipolar, so regulating emotions, understanding what enmeshment and codependency looks like, and learning all of these lessons. So yes, my idea was, and dream would be, that they would teach, some sort of education in schools. When you're younger and you go to school, I remember I'd get a smiley face and they'd give me a little thing and they'd have a chart and they'd say, how do you feel today? And, it sucked when I got them a bad one, but it was just, to me, why wouldn't we keep that conversation going? I'm not sure currently that would be possible. But maybe one day it is a goal of mine that I truly would love to see through, and hopefully.
Well, and a lot of what we found also in doing our research, where there were a lot of programs and curricula for schools, but they didn't have the funding that they needed to scale or to tailor them to different communities and different cities and different states. And so that has been Selena's drive to create a curriculum, and her own experience has really helped guide the strategy of the fund and why we invest in programs that are evidence-based curriculums for school that we can help expand, we can help people modify them and really scale them across the country.
Yeah. And how do you reflect on that film now, Selena, My Mind and Me, because you're happily in a much happier place in your life? And I wonder how it feels looking back on that film now.
Oh, I'm just so glad I'm not there. I also don't want people to look at that film and still believe I'm there.
I don't think anyone does.
Well, good. I'm so grateful that I was able to share that part of me. Before it came out, I changed my mind so many times whether I'd release it or not. But now I'm just grateful that people found a lot of healing. We heard so much. And the conversation shifted from, let me take a selfie to, oh, wow, I have this. I've dealt with, clinical depression, and these conversations were opening up. So it was nice to tell my story to hopefully gain trust with my community, my group of people. And it's been wonderful and challenging, still is, but it's great.
No, it's a really remarkable film if you haven't watched it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that Rare is so distinct from its competition is its focus on breaking down unrealistic beauty standards, which is actually very counterintuitive for a makeup and beauty brand to do. They're normally selling us aspirational, completely impossible ideals of beauty. But we're in a really tricky time, I think, right now for women. There's the GLP-1 boom, which is kind of emphasizing extreme thinness. Every time I log onto Instagram, I seem to be served a video about how I should change my face. I wonder, does Rare have to adapt the way it's speaking to its community for this moment, which feels quite unique?
Not at all.
I don't think so.
I don't think
we've
our
doubled down.
conversation will change. If anything, we will double down on what we mean and how we don't use models. We use people that have felt, that they can be your best friend. I want something real. I think if anything, and I'd like to mention so many brands have been doing this. So it's not just us. I'm so grateful to see that there's incredible brands out there doing the same thing in their way. And it makes me really proud. So yeah, it can feel like you get, drowned in videos. Yes, there are videos of me, thousands, of what I should do to my face. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, how do you respond to that? Because it's one thing watching them with someone else. Having that done of yourself must feel quite something.
Weird. Then I get weirded out and I'm like, well, should I dye my hair like red? It's very unfortunate that that's what people are doing now with things like AI. It's interesting to me.
It's a scary world, and I do worry for our younger girls. I know you have a younger sister.
Yes, I do.
So how do you speak to her about it?
I'm very vocal. I'm very honest with her. By all means, I'm not her mom, but I do know that she is vulnerable to this new era. I was around when Instagram started, obviously, but I was about 19, and I got to live these pivotal moments in my life in my own way. And I just try my hardest to let her know that not everything that she is looking at is right, but she has a time limit on anything. We have the accounts, her parents, my parents have her accounts, and it's just unavoidable. But you have to find a language. You have to know that it's unavoidable, and you have to just be as cutthroat as they are.
And communicative as well.
Yeah.
Don't just ignore it. Playing devil's advocate for a second, what would you say to someone who says you're a self-made billionaire, you have access to all the hairstylists, all the makeup artists, all the incredible stylists in the world? Why should we be able to relate to you talking to us about being real? Because I'm sure that's what some people
very
think.
valid.
So
That's
what would
so
your
valid.
response be to that?
I think for me overall, it's not why I do it. I think there's a lot of people in my position perhaps wanting to just do that. That's not my goal. My goal is always to be remembered by what I've done for people. It's not, and as much as every girl likes to feel, anyone likes to feel pretty, I hate sitting in a chair and getting my hair and makeup done.
You do?
I do.
Because
I shouldn't say this and have a beauty brand. I'm sorry. It's very, it just can be a little, I have nothing to complain about, but I would simply say it's all.
When the world first caught wind of Rare Beauty's arrival, the beauty community buzzed with both curiosity and skepticism. Was this yet another celebrity-built brand destined for a quick moment in the spotlight? Or could Selena Gomez offer something the industry hadn't seen before? As the months passed, whispers turned to roars. Rare Beauty wasn't just another pretty face on the shelves. It was a movement, a philosophy, a breath of fresh air in an industry known for its relentless pursuit of perfection. Selena's journey with makeup is intimately intertwined with her journey through stardom, scrutiny, and self-discovery. She launched Rare Beauty not to cash in on her fame, but to challenge the very notions of beauty that had so often left her and millions of others feeling not enough. She insisted on a brand that would celebrate individuality, where flaws became features, and makeup was less about masking and more about revealing. That's why fans devoured every launch, from a beloved soft pinch liquid blush that swept social media like wildfire, to the Liquid Touch foundation that seemed to melt into skin rather than sit on top of it. Each product came with a story, a purpose, and a promise. That beauty could be kind, inclusive, and deeply personal. So when rumors began swirling about a new pressed powder, a product so basic it's often overlooked, the anticipation was electric. Beauty insiders and devoted fans alike wondered, how would Rare Beauty transform this everyday item into something extraordinary? The answer came quietly yet confidently when Selena herself took to Ulta's digital stage. There was no glitzy, overproduced commercial, just Selena in a sunlit room, compact in hand, ready to let the world in on her latest secret. She spoke not just as a founder, but as a friend. Her excitement was infectious, her explanations detailed but never overwhelming. She wanted a powder that could set makeup without suffocating it, blur imperfections without erasing the person underneath. She wanted something that felt like a gentle hug for the skin, soft, luminous, and impossibly lightweight. As she pressed the powder into her skin, the transformation was subtle but mesmerizing. Her complexion took on this velvety sheen, never flat, never overly matte. It was as if she had bottled confidence and comfort in a single swipe. The packaging, as ever, was sleek and inviting, perfect for tossing in your bag and taking on the day. But beneath the surface, Rare Beauty's pressed powder was quietly revolutionary. Its formula was a masterclass in modern makeup. Talc-free, infused with skin-loving ingredients like niacinamide and antioxidants, designed to work with all skin types, even the most sensitive. It didn't just sit atop the skin. It became one with it, controlling shine and smoothing texture, yet never caking or settling into fine lines. Selena's demonstration wasn't just about application. It was about intention. She began with a spritz of Always an Optimist mist, then a whisper-light layer of foundation, letting her freckles peek through. The powder came next, not all over, but only where needed, a tap to the forehead, a sweep across the nose, a gentle press to the chin. The rest of her face was left free to glow. Watching Selena, you realize this isn't a routine for camera. It's a ritual for real life. For mornings on the go, for long days that blur into night, for moments when you just want to feel a little more put together without feeling weighed down. And the world noticed. Within hours, TikTok was alive with hashtag Rare Beauty Transformations. Influencers marveled at how it blurred pores and tamed shine, but let their skin breathe and move. Everyday users posted before and after photos, delighted that finally, a powder existed that didn't look like a powder at all. The reviews flooded in. "It's like my skin, but better," wrote one. "No more midday dryness," said another. The consensus was clear. This was the pressed powder people had been waiting for. Yet the real magic of Rare Beauty's pressed powder isn't just in its performance. It's in what it represents. In a culture obsessed with filters and flawlessness, Selena's message cuts through. You don't need to chase perfection to be beautiful. You don't need to hide your quirks or mute your glow. Makeup is not a mask. It's a mirror, one that reflects who you are and who you want to be. Rare Beauty's pressed powder is a quiet revolution, an invitation to step into the world with confidence, not because you concealed yourself, but because you revealed your realest, rarest self. So next time you're wandering the aisles at Ulta, pause for a moment, reach for that pearly compact, press play on Selena's video, and step into a world where beauty is less about hiding and more about celebrating. You might just discover that what makes you rare is exactly what makes you unforgettable. And perhaps, in the gentle dusting of powder and the honest gaze in the mirror, you'll find your own definition of beautiful, one that belongs only to you.